So why do you need to set up a company if you're a videographer or a digital creator? So if you don't currently have one, your structure is this on the left. You're just paying taxes on everything you make from 20% to 45%. If you don't currently have one, then you probably have an accountant who you talk to once a year. You just send him your bank statements just for him to file your tax returns. He's probably old. He doesn't understand the filmmaking industry and digital creation. He's just ticking the boxes. You probably don't like him, and he probably doesn't care about you. But I imagine you care about yourself. So just stick with me 5 minutes and let me show you why a company will make your life so much better. So number one, which is the most important, even though you might think it's not, is to get limited liability, which basically means that if you mess up in some way, you can't be sued personally. You're protected. Your personal assets are protected, and they can only come after your company, the company's assets, not your personal stuff, not your house, not your motorbike, not your expensive equipment, only the stuff that's owned by the company. So you might think this is never going to happen, but here are just a few of the circumstances where you could get sued. Okay, number one is breach of contract. A client claims you didn't deliver on an agreed video project on time or to the expected quality. They could sue you. IP infringement. Without knowing it, you could use copyrighted music or footage in a video project without obtaining proper licensing. The copyright holder could sue you. Personal injury. If your shooting involves dangerous scenes, let's say racing, for example. If during a shoot someone gets injured because of your equipment, the person injured can sue for medical expenses, which in the UK can be pretty high. Or if your equipment, for example, does damage to something instead of someone, the owner of that property can sue for repair costs and damages. And loads of others like, defamation, data breaches, privacy violations, employment claims if you've got employees. And these final ones may be unlikely, but at least you're covered on all fronts. So that is reason number one. And reason number two is that you can control how much you take out of the business. Now, this is the difference in the payout structure. On the left, this is you right now. Well, hopefully it's not. But if you hit a good run of jobs and you're suddenly bringing in 150k a year, guess what happens? You pay 45% income tax, and we don't want to do this. With a company, we can choose how much to take out and only take out how much you need. If you want to take out a quick couple grand, you could take out a loan from the company, or if you want to permanently take out more money, you take out dividends, which are only taxed at 8.75% compared to the 20% of normal income. And connected to point number two, point number three is tax savings. Now, let me pull up this Excel sheet. I don't know the precise amount you watching or earning, so I've created a few scenarios. So in here, see if you're making 50k, this is what you're earning, this is what you're paying in tax, this is your national insurance, and on the right there's a little summary. So here, if you have a company, you don't have to take out everything you earn, you can only take out maybe your 12.57 in salary, 20k in dividends, and this is how much you're saving, 870. If you go up to 70, then you can see that this income starts going into the higher rate. You probably don't need the whole 70k, right? You can keep some in the company. Maybe you want to increase your lifestyle, so instead of 20k, you take out 30k, and you're saving 4.5 grand. Now, when you start earning 100, all this money goes into the higher rate, and it's getting taxed at 40%. And then obviously there's national insurance on top. So look at the tax savings when you're making 100k. It's 16k in tax savings. And again, you can control how much you take out, how much you keep inside of the company. You don't want to be taxed on everything. What if you have 150k in earnings? Look at what happens here. All this money, this extra 37k gets taxed at 45%. That's ridiculous. Imagine paying 54k in income tax. If you have a company instead, again, you're only taxed at 25%, right? Actually, not even, it's a bit lower. And then you can take out however much you want. And you're only ever going to go up to 39%, which you won't if you're smart and you use deductions. You'll only ever pay 8.75% in dividends unless you want to take out a lot more money. So basically, yeah, If you're making 150K, then and you don't have a company, you're losing out on 20 grand in savings, just like straight up by not having a company. So those are the tax savings, and maybe you're making 40 to 50K now, where the difference isn't really big. But what if you start making more money? You want to make more, don't you? So it makes sense to be positioned properly, right, for when you do. Number 4 is that it is easier to hire and pay people. Turns out people work for companies. It's easy to create something that is valuable if you want to eventually sell the business. For example, with a company, you're building a valuable asset, something that can be sold. You're usually perceived as more professional as well with a company, and there are a lot of other small benefits too that are up to you to consider. But in my opinion, making more money and protecting your personal stuff are definitely good reasons to open a company. And if you want the version on steroids of this, you can open a holding company. This is if you don't want to take money out, but instead you want to invest the money you make in property and other assets. If you want to build an empire, instead of taking money out, paying taxes on that money, and then buying your property, you can just keep it inside of this structure and reinvest the money without taking it out. I won't get into this now, it's complicated, but just know, if you're a digital creator, if you're a videographer, if filmmaker, if you're in the film industry, just do yourself a favor and open a limited company. All right, see ya.